I'm Hiroki Yamamoto. I currently teach at Kanazawa College of Art. In 2018, I completed my PhD study at the University of the Arts London, which reconsiders the history of socially engaged art in Japan from a post-colonial perspective. While undertaking my doctoral research, I attended events and exhibitions held at our foundation many times. So I'm very happy to be here, even virtually. And my presentation today, titled Addressing Transnational Legacies of Colonialism in East Asia, Cases from Contemporary Japanese Art, attempts to highlight the transnational nature in contemporary Japanese art in relation to the colonial history of the country. I'm examining the contested legacies of colonialism in East Asia through the examples of contemporary Japanese art, whereas the problematic legacies of colonial domination, albeit in different forms, can be found around the globe. It is particularly significant to work out the issues of historical injustice related to Japan's colonialist past in East Asia. Japan was a former imperial power which invaded neighboring countries and regions from the late 19th century up to the World War II. The Empire of Japan, which existed from 1868 to 1947, colonized Taiwan in 1895 as a result of the victory of the First Sino-Japanese War, and annexed Korea in 1910 by means of military and political power. The colonial legacies in East Asia, therefore, are prevalent in the region transnationally and have their roots in the assimilation policies and destructive activities conducted by the Imperial Japanese government and army. Since the conclusion of World War II, the legacies of Japanese militarism in East Asia have left many unsettled conflicts and disputes that are still dividing the region. While the language barrier has always been a crucial problem in discussing the sensitive war-related subjects among the people of East Asia, visual art as a tool for nonverbal communication could be an effective means of thinking and speaking about them alternatively. The Japanese artists discussed in this talk have addressed, albeit through different approaches, controversial legacies deeply linked to Japan's imperial history. While the modalities of the legacy of colonialism in the contemporary world, be it material, for example, monuments built during colonial period, or immaterial, for example, traumatic experience of colonial rule, vary greatly, today's talk focuses on facilities, buildings, and statues that are connected with Japanese colonial history, mobilizing the concept of site. The term site specificity has been a keyword in the field of art history and critique since the emergence of minimalism and public art in the 1960s United States of America. These artistic trends, in spite of their difference in appearance in terms of size, materials, and so forth, are characterized by the exchanges between the work of art and the place in which its meaning are defined. Hundreds of artists who contributed to the development of these two genres were aware of the visible and invisible features, shape, scale, climate, etc., of an exhibition space, be it a gallery room or an outside place in the production of artworks. However, there was a remarkable watershed in the history of site-specific art practices. In the 1990s, more and more artists began to pay attention to the social, political, and historical implications embedded in the particular spaces around which they worked. Art historian Mi-Won Kwon illustrates this exquisitely. Rather than considering the places in which artworks are installed as replaceable with other similar ones, Kwon reframes the concept of site-specificity as, quote, the cultural mediation of broader social, economic, and political processes that organize urban life and urban space. In line with her reconceptualization, I am exploring possibilities of cultural strategies seeking to intervene in politically charged sites in East Asia related to Japanese colonialism, referring to recent examples of contemporary art practices in Japan. First, I would like to compare two art practices concerning religious facilities erected in the territories colonized by Japan, torii and the reconstruction of Japanese stone lantern. While the former is a photographic project conducted by Motoyuki Shitamichi between 2006 and 2012 in many places, including Japan's EX colonies in East Asia. The latter is Mitsuhiro Okamoto's artistic project in Kaohsiung in Taiwan, a port city on the southern tip of Taiwan, which was launched in 2004 and eventually completed in the next year. Although these projects greatly differ in their aesthetic style and approaches to their objectives, they are similar in that both targeted the same type of colonial ruins and required a relatively long time to complete. After graduating from an art university, Shitamichi traveled all over Japan and started to take pictures of the scenery he encountered and the people and the places he met along the way. In 2005, he published Bunkers, a collection of his photographs capturing various war relics that remain in Japan. Okamoto, on the other hand, has participated in numerous artist and residency programs in different countries around the world and initiated a large number of community art projects involving local residents since the late 1990s. From time to time, Okamoto's project dealing with politically sensitive topics triggered controversies and oppositions. Shitamichi started his torii project in 2006. In this project, he took pictures of torii, a traditional gate, a Japanese gate commonly found at the entrance of a Shinto shrine built outside Japan. Shinto is the name of the traditional religion of Japan that traces its roots back to ancient Japan. The Japanese government built a Shinto shrine throughout its colonies and forced the once colonized to worship the religion in order to rule its colony efficiently by assimilating them culturally. Torii, still existing in the former Japanese colonies of East Asia, is thus a remaining symbol of Imperial Japanese assimilation. In torii, Shitamichi's special interest lay in portraying contemporary and continuously changing form of a colonial residue. In this sense, a morphological interest as well as political one substantially underpin his project. To be more precise, these concerns are inseparably entwined in Shitamichi's works. In my view, he tries to discover a political connotation in a morphological transformation regarding ongoing legacies of colonialism. One of the photographs in the series, taken in Taichung City, Taiwan, captures a massive stone torii inside a park, which is now used as a kind of public bench by many residents of the area. We can easily identify in this eye-catching picture that the colonial object has been reused, appropriated, and transformed in a local context. In stark contrast, another photograph that Shitamichi took in Sakhalin, a current Russian territory, impressively depicts a tiny torii standing alone in the vast grassy place, as if alluding that it is sinking into the profound oblivion. Moreover, no actual torii appears in the images taken in South Korea, as almost everything relevant to the 3.5-decade period of Japanese rule has been destroyed in the country. In this picture, the viewers can only recognize very faint traces of religious facilities built during the colonial era, poetically recording the shapes and uses of a torii that has been changed divergently in each site after the war. Shitamichi's project shows us the lasting ruins of colonial cultural homogenization in a new light. The seemingly discrete photographs produced throughout the project as a consequence foreground an unacknowledged connectivity linking geographically remote post-colonial sites together. This visualized connectivity could only be rendered perceivable by employing a transnational comparative approach in the field of art. Compared to Shitamichi's photographic project that tries to capture the present status of colonial legacies somewhat objectively, Okamoto's art project, the reconstruction of Japanese stone lantern, is a more direct interventional activity in a contested post-colonial location, which impacts the political situations in China, Taiwan, and Japan, beyond their geographical borders. Beginning with a chance encounter with old photographs of a shrine taken during Taiwan's colonial period, the project attempted to rebuild a stone lantern that appeared in the photographs with the help of the local people. Okamoto started this project by specifying the accurate position where the lantern stood in the precinct of now abandoned shrine, and in November 2005 successfully restored it. The project's aim is, Okamoto himself stressed, not to glorify the age of imperialism in East Asia, but to enable the re-emergence of something that can serve as a witness to the site's colonial history. Perhaps owing to its straightforward way of intervention, however, the reconstruction project invoked tensions and controversies that involved the local authorities. Okamoto's provocative project reckoned the politically saturated site as an irreplaceable medium to unveil a political catalyst for social amelioration and political reform. Within the unique transformative space shaped by the project in turn, the reconstituted transnational legacy of colonialism newly functions as an efficacious counter device against the fading memories regarding the enforced cultural assimilation. So finally, I would like to take up a Lit for Dream. Today, My Empire Sings, a 3-channel video installation created by Meiro Koizumi in 2016. Like Shitamichi and Okamoto, Koizumi approaches a highly contested site as an indispensable material for this video piece. Although the subject that he deals with in his works are diverse, he has scrutinized the military history of Japan and its consequences and ramifications in the post-war Japanese society through art since the turn of the 21st century. Lit for a Dream can be divided into 2 parts, excluding the 2 short scenes like a prologue and an epilogue at the very beginning and ending. The film, as a kind of prologue, opens with a shot of the imperial place, Kokyo, setting the mood of nationalistic culture. The first part consists of a long monologue in which the artist talks in an almost inaudible voice about a dream he actually saw when he was a child. The dream, according to the voiceover narration, was the dream that was invaded by the empire. In the dream, the artist's father was about to be taken away by police officers for some unknown reason. His small son, that is Koizumi himself, was trying hard to restrain him while crying with tears, "Please don't go." The father, responding to his child, said, "I have got to go because there isn't enough chicken feed to go around, and somebody has to be fed to the chickens." And he told that he was chosen to the road. The second part opens with a scene of a male actor walking in the street, which leads to the Yasukuni Shrine, an extremely controversial Shinto shrine located in central Tokyo, which was founded in 1869 and commemorates those who died in service of the Empire of Japan, including a great number of convicted war criminals of World War II. Although there is no explicit sign that indicate where the scene is taking place, the artist encloses visual clues that allow viewers to specify the location. He inserted short shot of Kudan Station, the station closest to the shrine, and a group of several male people holding the flag of the Imperial Japanese Army and Navy, called Kyokujitsuki, Rising Sun Flag, which symbolizes Japan's wartime militarism. The actor's hands are securely tied behind the back, and he is surrounded by a crowd of police officers. The viewers, in addition, witnessed indecent words such as "Got out of Japan" and "We don't need in Japan," and insulting angry voices that flying back and forth. What is filmed in the second part is a chauvinistic demonstration staged by Japanese ultranationalists around the Yasukuni Shrine. Right-wing political movement which assail citizens with other nationalities and ethnic backgrounds in the country have become prominent in Japan since the mid-2000s. I would like to contend that it is of significance to unearth Koizumi's Lit for Dream in connection with the word air, the title of his preceding series of paintings concerning emperor system in Japan, which directly led to the production of the work. Air, kuki in Japanese, unlike in English usage, refers to context by which one is surrounded, or moods in which one is embedded in Japan. So in my interpretation, Koizumi tries to visualize the air surrounding the Yasukuni Shrine in the context of a recent surge of nationalistic enthusiasm capturing the exclusive mood widespread in the contemporary Japanese society. And this is conclusion. In this presentation, I have discussed several recent practices of Japanese artists wrestling with geographical sites as enduring colonial legacies in the contemporary world. In doing this, I have paid particular attention to the visual sensory representational ways that the artist aimed to intervene in the contested space and territories intricately tied up with the history of Japanese imperialism and colonialism. Art's ability to visualize transnational connectivity, as I have argued, will be instrumental to dissect the vexing territoriality configured through the cross-border expansion of Imperial Japan in East Asia. The common thread running through the case studies is that all artists regard the contested site as an integral medium for art making. Another commonality is a mutually beneficial relationship of visuality and speciality in their artworks. A visually intriguing nature is shaped by a contested space, and it in turn contributes to the shaping a productive space that might spawn new insight. Thus, their artistic works and the project turn out to be the viable strategic intervention in the political debate concerning those problematic locations. Thank you very much.